Just thought I'd record a quick process flow video to show how easy it is to use the route shape to do things like flowing orders from an e-commerce website with multi-storefront, say, into different accounting systems across your retail technology stack. So this is a pretty clean account. If I go and have a look, the way Patchworks works out, you have connectors and instances. That shows the different systems that you're connected to. Then your process flows, your run logs, any scripts that you wanted to install, for instance, and other bits and pieces. But what I'll talk about now is the fact that I've created two connectors. So I've got a BigCommerce website here for the multi-storefront test site that we were given, and a SFTP site as well. So if I wanted to add more, there's a couple of ways of doing that. We can effectively go into our connector marketplace. So a great example might be that we want Business Central. So I can click install. It will queue it up in the background. Again, I can go back. We're talking about multi-systems across the entire estate. So actually what I'll do is I'll filter it by ERP, apply. You can see these are all pre-built connectors, and I'll use NetSuite's got SOAP or REST. REST, I believe, is still in beta, but I'm going to add it in anyway because that's what we recommend using nowadays. And you'll sit there in the background and you get the little update saying, when it's been improved, installed or not. So you can see we've now got Business Central, NetSuite, REST, or SFTP. There are a couple of other ways as well. If you don't have a pre-built connector, if we don't have a pre-built connector in the system, we can add a new one. So you click Add New Connector. We have something called Connector Builder. That allows you effectively to build up and add all your different endpoints for REST or SOAP through this graphical user interface via a web page, which is pretty powerful. We've got people going live all the time with connectors. With Maersk this week is a great example, the shipping and logistics company, where we don't have that connector in the marketplace yet, but it gives you that ability to effectively build in that way. Ditto, if you want to add one in, you can also import a Postman collection. So for SOAP, you can use your WSDL once you're in Connector Builder. And what this allows you to do effectively is take a Postman collection from a vendor and import that, and you can get that running really, really quickly. But that's enough about connectors. So effectively in this case, I don't have any credentials for BC, Business Central, or NetSuite, so I won't add those in. But I think I can give you a good demonstration of how we could route this across. So the way things are integrated together in Patchworks is via process flows. Like I said, this is a brand new account, pretty much trial account. So I'm going to create a new flow, and I'm going to call it BC Order Multi-Test. I don't need a description. Create the flow. And effectively, we have this no-code, low-code interface that allows you to create integrations without having to write a lot of scripting or a lot of code, ultimately. Every single flow starts with a trigger. These can be scheduled every hour. Click the settings button. You can also have an event listener, so it can listen to an event queue. So if you are using a message-based background, you can effectively sit there listening for a message to appear on that queue and then use that to get the message. Or it can be a webhook as well. So, and if it is a schedule, you can set it up to be hourly, daily, monthly, or an advanced schedule based on the kind of cron job type way of working. Doesn't matter because I'm not actually going to set this up and put it live. So effectively, I'm going to say add a new shape. So the way this works is we have different shapes in our no-code, low-code system. Select the system you want to get it from. I'm going to use BigCommerce. And then I'm going to go down and get all the orders. So we've got all the different APIs from BigCommerce in here. We've also included the B2B APIs, as well as it's fully MSF and GraphQL compliant. But as a CEO who used to be technical, I'm not very good at GraphQL, so I'm going to use a REST endpoint. Get all the orders. If there were any variables for the endpoint, you can add those in as well, because it could be all orders in the last 10 minutes or something. But in this case, we do get all orders. So before I run it, I could run that right now. It'll go off and get that orders, but I'm going to write a little bit more of the flow out. So I'm going to go in here and say, I know there's a list of orders coming out here. So here are all the different shapes. We've got filter shapes. Obviously, we've got the root shape. I'll come back to in a second. Connector. You can split the JSON. Mapping is very important. That's how you map one JSON packet to another one to put it into another system. But in this case, I'm going to choose flow control. So flow control is basically like a for each loop. And you have to select the batch level, which in the case of this is the top of the array, effectively. So it's just a star. And if I go down here, click save, that's now going to loop around all my different orders that I've got within BigCommerce. So the next one I think is really important, ultimately, is the route shape that I mentioned before. I'm going to put in here a route. And this allows you, this is the key thing for this example, that allows you to effectively route data in to different systems based on something within the payload that you have there. So I'm going to add a route in, and I'm going to add in a script actually. So because I'm going to drop this onto an FTP box. So I'm going to convert JSON to CSV, just as an example. It doesn't have to be that, and do save. And you see that now it's created a couple of routes. We've got 2 routes on this particular route shape. First route, it will go down, convert to CSV, and in fact what I'll do is I'll drop that onto the SFTP server that I have set up. I'll give it a name. Obviously the name can be a variable, it could be the order number for instance, but in this case I'll just call it gym.csv because it's just a demo, and I'll give it the route. So do that and save, which is great. So there's the first route set up. The second route could be connecting through to that Business Central or that NetSuite example. And in fact, what you can do, if I click on the settings for the route shape, you can add in as many routes as you like, ultimately. Now, it will process all the routes that it has a matching filter for. So I think in this example, let's say that we do something based on the country, effectively. So the first route is the SFTP route. So why don't we go in here, add a new filter, and we'll say based on, so I can search the different fields that are in the JSON packet based on GeoIP country ISO 2, which is a field within the order JSON from BigCommerce. I'll say string equals value GB. So everything from the UK, create, will now go down that first route. And if I wanted to, I could rename that. I could say UK orders FTP. There we go, update. So you can use that to annotate the routing to make it easy to understand. The second route, this is going to fail at the minute because it's not doing anything ultimately. So I'll say non-UK orders. And I can add a new filter and I'm saying again, geo, IP country there. Instead of equals, I'll say not equal, not contains, not equals GB, create. I'll update that. And like I said, I could add in more if I wanted to. So it could be UK orders, France orders, Germany orders, etc. Save that. I mentioned annotation, by the way. You can actually annotate these individual shapes. If I wanted to, you can add a note in, add a flow note, and say, why you're doing it and what you're doing. But as you can see here, think about it. In the last couple of minutes, I have built this flow out of nothing. If I now click play, it will go off ultimately, go and get the orders, route around the orders. There you go. You can see it's going off down the SFTP route, and it's going off and placing it down there. So, and there you go. You can see that the flow has all gone down, created it's gone through a script and it's put it down there. And if you want to, you can go and have a look at the details, look at the payloads, and you can see the different orders that are coming out of BigCommerce. So that was it really. I just wanted to show you that. In terms of the actual flows themselves, they're all very well kind of configured. They've all got different, you can put a label on it to say whether it's staging or production or another label of some sort. You can set up an email failure notification if you need to. You have flow variables that you can pass in that could be coming from somewhere else. And then they're all versioned. So ultimately what you do is you deploy that flow and then it's live, and then any changes you make creates a new version. Same with scripts as well. So there's a reason a lot of companies are now buying Patchworks, and I hope you find that very useful.